That's right. The people I spoke with today, all smiles, especially when they see the tally at the pump. Obviously, one thing is staying the same. The balloons are here.
From the mood of the folks behind me, they're already breathing a sigh of relief.
On Bass Pro Boulevard, you'll find gas for $2.52 a gallon.
The governor spoke about the history of corruption in Louisiana politics. There were so many people here to discuss the issue that the fire chief actually had to enforce the capacity ordinance.
Hey, Kylie, just getting in a morning run. It's such a beautiful day today, and it's what people do when you're out here at the Baton Rouge beach.
Well, if you're familiar with Edwin Edwards, and no doubt you are because you live in Louisiana, you know about his past.
With prices as low as $2.30 a gallon, drivers are saving some serious dollars. And that's real cash you can take out of the tank and put it to something you really want. Say, Christmas presents? He was using his position and the association's money to fuel a tryst with a 63-year-old woman that lasted nearly 6 years. It's not just hot air out here, of course. It is a balloon festival.
And it's December coming up right here, so we only have a month left in 2014. Good thing these are 2015 calendars, so you know you're going to get a good deal. Yeah, Michael, just minutes ago, a 6-person jury returned the verdict. It is guilty for Joseph Branch.
Yeah, this house behind me burned to the ground, so I'll put it to the test. West Lane measures in at about 17 feet. While your typical school bus can measure, well, a little more than 8 feet wide. People who live near the tracks tell me it's the speed of the trains traveling through White Castle that really gets them nervous. And that school was labeled a cult. It's why parents got the warning.
Only did one pull-up that I saw. All right, let's see if we can get 2.
Oh, come on, how about this?
3, okay,
there
3.
You go. Each one of these panels can power 3 100-watt light bulbs. Judge Brian Jackson took into account the fact that Terrio's helping the feds out with another investigation.
He's seen trains hit cars, various other accidents on the track, but the mess today was a first. Whether expanding Medicaid would have helped, he avoided answering that question, saying a question about medical finances is better suited for politicians than a hospital administrator.
Gary Lacombe turned this letter into the Secretary of State's office 6 hours ago, effectively giving up on Gonzales' government.
Because he had opportunities for the last 4 months. Now he's saying he's going to spend money. We're taking action.
That was his operational budget. Gary, come on.
Gary Lacombe, as he's off to do, has once again ignored multiple attempts to have any meaningful conversation with me or anyone else here at our station. We'll head to Ascension Parish at the conclusion of this report to see if he's willing to speak in person about why he's giving up on Gonzales. Rob Krieger, WVRZ News 2.
Beyond the bubbles, there's still moss, birds, and yeah, fishermen.
If it has gas, it starts easy.
It's a paradise for Bob Deaton and Dennis Landry as they maneuver through sprawling bayous. The serenity is captivating, at least for the people left here.
Well, we think it's a good place to be.
And maybe there's something to that.
When those cool breezes start blowing in the fall, a fella can make an early morning hunt, catch a mess of fish, and still make it to Tiger Stadium on time for the kickoff on Saturday night.
Tempting, huh? But through the reeds, cypress knees, and greenery,
I don't ever remember this many lily pads since I've been coming here.
There's something happening here. And what it is, well, that's clear.
I mean, I can see with my own eyes, according to the bubbling in the bayou, the gas is diminishing. The wells in the area, most of the wells are really starting to go down. The pressure's going down, so the gas is diminishing, the sinkhole is settling, so if we've stayed here all this time, why leave now?
Since the sinkhole opened, Texas Brine installed 53 vent wells, and half of those aren't producing gas anymore. In the last year, they've been pumping wastewater from those vent wells back into the sinkhole, and now the company wants to get an extension on their permit to continue that work for at least another 5 years.
The people who should be the most concerned about it are those of us who are staying, and from my knowledge, nobody who's staying had any objection to that water being injected or put back into the sinkhole.
It's something Landry hopes will solidify the tranquility in Bayou Corn.
I think once all the remediation efforts are done, Bayou Corn is going to actually be even nicer than it was before.
Just a little easier and a little quieter. Rob Krieger, WVRZ News 2.
Sex offenders in Ascension Parish can expect a visit from deputies up to 4 times a year, making sure they're living where they're registered and aren't violating any rules. And as you'll see, even the celebrity sex offenders are opening the door to my camera, even if they're in their boxers.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Deputies looking for these guys. Sex offenders, some convicted of the most cringeworthy offenses, like Gary Mahan, convicted of sodomy and torture of a child back in the 80s. But this Friday, he won't be anywhere close to kids.
Can't wear any mask, you can't give out any candy, can't do any of that stuff for Halloween.
The deputies keeping an eye on sex offenders know if they stay present in the eyes of the offenders, it makes it harder for them to prey again.
It's visits just like these that keep sex offenders in check here in the parish, but just because Ascension's finest are making the rounds doesn't mean you shouldn't be vigilant too.
We definitely hope that if we go visit their house, their work, and be visible to them, that they might not offend again in our parish.
Some offenders are quick to comply, even if it's nearly in the buff.
How you doing? I'm good. Oh, Lord. Go put a shirt on, Mike.
Recognize Michael Tyler, a.k.a. Mystical, the platinum-selling rapper convicted of sexual battery in 2004, bouncing back since incarceration, isn't shying away from the media during his compliance check. A family man himself, albeit with no plans for any more children.
Ain't you expecting one more?
No,
or you just
man.
had one?
No.
He knows how important these checks are, especially when offenders are in your neck of the woods.
I have the same fears that most parents have. You know, I don't have no offense against no, young kids and nothing like that. Don't make my offense no better, but still, protect your kids, man. Protect your kids. That's, our kids are the most important thing that we have.
And while he insists there's no danger around him, he knows life for sex offenders doesn't have to be unpredictable, despite the stigma.
Don't do the pity party thing. I have to participate in sex offender groups and stuff like that twice a month. It don't stop your life, man. It don't stop your life.
Now you can track sex offenders near
$2.30 a gallon? Crazy, right? It's why these cars are doing the 2-ton tango to get to the pump. A ballet of tires and fuel is a symphony of savings for drivers.
I got a truck, man, so filling up my truck it hurts, and filling this up, we smile when we leave, especially from here, $31.27, that's awesome.
These prices are laughable, but they're real. Real enough to get some people driving for miles just to snag the deal.
I live in Gonzales, but I don't mind. I have a membership at Sam's, so I drive out to Baton Rouge to get my gas, and it's worth it. I mean, $2.60, you can't beat it for premium gasoline.
Of course, I'm an old guy. Back in the 72, I can remember the long lines back then.
The pumps are flowing a little faster these days, and the lines, well, they're moving. But at these rates, waiting's worth it.
With prices as low as $2.30 a gallon, drivers are saving some serious dollars. And that's real cash you can take out of the tank and put it to something you really want. Say, Christmas presents?
I could add in like the iPads or something like that I normally wouldn't able to afford.
It's good because the less we spend on gas, more we can spend elsewhere. So, yeah.
It's why economists think retailers are licking their chops over these puny prices, but most people are just happy to have a little wiggle room at the pump.
When you live check to check, it all makes a big difference in my pocket.
The gift shop at the Myrtles will never be the same. Gutted by flames, windows busted, postcards and memories blister in the sun. For the guests nearly caught in the blaze, the sight of this mansion in flames was haunting.
When I looked at that building, smoke was just pouring out of it. It was just pouring. Then as the evening went on, then all of a sudden flames were shooting out of the middle of the, and I took a picture of it.
The fire burned dangerously close to the main home, a building filled with stories, legends, lore, many tragic and often eerie.
Just look at how close these two buildings are together. It's why firefighters were working so hard to make sure the blaze didn't cross the line. But some folks here think they got a little help from the spirits that haunt the grounds.
That little breezeway that separates it from the main house is where Chloe has been spotted a number of times.
If anything, it was the ghost who stopped it. There's no reason why both of these buildings should be standing today
with the age of the materials used in them.
This wood has 2 centuries of history, stories that won't vanish as easy as an apparition.
We will rebuild, and the foundation is the same. The Myrtles property has the same history that it's always had, so nothing has changed.
And it seems the specters that haunt the mansion through the mossy oaks are determined to keep it that way.
One of the men that work here, he told me for the last 4 nights he was having a dream about this lady in black kept coming to her in a dream and saying, there's going to be a fire, get out. There's going to be a fire, get out. Every single night, the same dream.
Just another notch in the cryptic history that is the Myrtles Plantation. Rob Krieger, WBRZ News 2.